Hello, welcome back. Welcome to the Geek Central podcast. I'm Jovi, and I'm here with Nye.
Hello, everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about a few things. Lots happened in the past week and month with a lot of geeky news and tech news. So first, we're going to start off with the Batman 2021. So Nye has only just seen it a few days ago while I saw it when it came out, as DC Fando was on my birthday. So what was your opinions on the Batman 2021 trailer?
Well, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier, and because I've seen a lot of things on my Instagram coming up regarding it and its cast in it, I think it looks pretty good. Although, of course, I mentioned that the one thing I'm worried about is how many villains are appearing in it. Judging by, because I read that they already announced that Penguin was going to be in it as well. So on top of Catwoman and the Riddler, you also have the Penguin, and there's also, even though he might not be in it, there's still like the Joker gangs, from what I can tell from the trailer, I'm pretty sure. Which does worry me a bit with how much, in a way, similar to Spider-Man 2. Oh, no, sorry, Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Just how they included way too many villains, so it was hard to actually focus on one villain at a time, which dampened the whole film in general.
Yeah.
But apart from that, hopefully they don't hopefully they don't focus on villains like equally, because otherwise then we'll just have not much of each villain. We do something similar to the Dark Knight, which is how they had like one main villain and a side villain that became the main villain in the end. That'd be great.
That plays off with like the villain,
Yeah, because currently with how it's looking, it looks like Catwoman and the Joker and the Riddler are all going to be in it quite extensively.
Well, we did hear from the director that said the Joker will be in the Batman film, but the Batman's already been announced that it will be a trilogy of films, and he didn't say it will be in this film. He said it will be in a future film. So hopefully it's the third one when it's Batman's a bit more matured and he's a bit further into his career. So I think a year 2 Batman shouldn't be facing against the Joker.
Yeah, it'd be a lot more. It'd be a lot more of a nice setup as well to set up the Joker appearing in the final film, because they can like tease him throughout the entire trilogy leading up to it, and then when he finally joins, it's an interesting payoff.
Yeah, as Batman Begins did with at the end showing the card, Jim Gordon showing the card to Batman. Yeah,
but I think if this is done on a larger scale, that'd be good.
Yeah,
trying to make it a bit more of a big thing leading up to the end. Because with with Batman Begins and Dark Knight, it was just kind of like, I think it was more of like a teaser, but like it was like one small teaser, like kind of like a cameo, and then they decided to make him the villain in the next film, Dark Knight. Whereas this could be a lot more intentional, hyping him up throughout the entire films, maybe a bit more making him like show up every now and then, or like characters referencing him. Because the problem, but then also the problem with the Joker appearing is that it might feel a bit out of sync. Like if they're doing something and then now suddenly the Joker's gang appears, it might feel a bit weird having all of these like main plot lines, and suddenly they interrupt it to have a small plot line about the Joker that then appears later. It's a bit.
Going off what you've said about things you don't want to see, let's elaborate more onto that subject. What I personally don't want to see is another origin story, as that's been played so many times.
That's why I think it's year 2. That's why they chose his second year, because otherwise, we don't need an origin story, because he's Batman, and we've seen it done so many times that we don't really need one. It's similar to, I'm trying to remember where it was that didn't have an origin story for his character. It'll probably come back to me later. But if we don't have an origin story,
Dark Knight Rises had flashback.
Yeah. I now remember.
Yeah.
Now I remember what it was. Similar did it completely on the opposite side which is Spider-Man in Civil War. We didn't need to see Uncle Ben get shot for the 700th time. He just appears in it, which I think is what they're doing here with Batman. If they're going to have him, they don't need another origin story. Practically everyone knows Batman's origin story already. His parents got shot, and he became Batman. Whether you've seen Tim Burton's The Batman, it was the Joker, or you've seen most other adaptations where it was Joe Chill. It was Joe Chill. His name was right. Yeah. But anyway, either way, you still understand the core concept of his origin story, and I don't think that they need to keep going on his origin story every time because we all know it. We don't need to have it keep going. Yeah, that's what. But
what kind of things would you like to see in it? Like different villains or different comics.
I mean,
inspiration from.
I feel like there's Batman movies or like superhero movies a lot seem to be resolving around using the same few villains.
Yeah.
Like we've had so many like appearances of the Joker and Penguin and the Riddler as well in all of these like medias over the past however many years, the last few decades, where we've seen Batman battle these villains, and there's so many villains that we haven't seen Batman fight that much.
Yeah,
which would be a lot.
It's such a large rogue valley that they could just explore and pick out a few that we haven't seen. Like the Court of Owls has only been
which I think which is good that
comics.
they're being put. The Court of Owls are being put into Gotham Knights now, which is going to be villains, which is nice to see because we with like Arkham we've seen the Joker being used every time. It's nice to have a different villain used. Same with Batman. We haven't really seen many adaptations of. We've had characters like Poison Ivy. I'm pretty sure, like you mentioned, we had one adaptation and it didn't go very well.
No.
And we had appearance in Gotham, and that was mediocre, I'd say. It'd be nice to see a more adult take on Poison Ivy in this. Maybe a bit of a Killer Croc if possible, but probably not because there'd be a lot of CGI had to be done for him, and this doesn't really seem like a film that's going to be relying heavily on that. It seems more in the style of the Nolan trilogy, with a lot more use of just practical effects and stunts, but also Hush, which is the one character I do want to see in one of the films. Hush or Deathstroke. Because Deathstroke we haven't really seen at all in any like live action appearances, really, which is a shame because
See him in Suicide Squad.
No, we saw Deadshot in Suicide Squad.
That's it, not Deathstroke.
Yeah, fortunately, we haven't really seen. The only times we've seen him is in the Arkham games, really. And he had an excellent introduction in Origins and a pretty terrible introduction in Night. And I'd love to see Deathstroke and Hush if possible, because Hush is a really interesting villain, and we saw him in Batman Hush recently. But I'd love to see him in Disney form. Maybe he's like similarly set up with the Joker, like we have him being regular Thomas Elliot with him, and then he becomes a bit more in the second film or something. It'd be interesting to see same with Deathstroke as well. Would be incredibly interesting to see because he's very strong and he'd be a worthy adversary to Batman like halfway through his introduction, I think, in the second film. But yeah, Hush and Deathstroke are the characters I'd really want to see in one of these films. How about you?
Well, the Penguin, I've always really liked, and they've tried him so many times, and I think Gotham did him the best, the TV show.
Oh yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito's Penguin was
he literally was a penguin.
Yeah, which wasn't the right move to go with it, because back then they were just making a lot of campy superhero movies because they could be campy, and they try to make it very childish and stuff to appeal to everyone.
Like the Batman credit card.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The most useful, or the Bat shark repellent, of course.
of course.
But unfortunately, this doesn't mean that a lot of characters were sadly wasted in those films. And I'm excited to see the Penguin come back. I think the Penguin would be an interesting portrayal to see. But
Yeah.
it all depends on how campy they're going to make him. They're actually going to make him campy, or they're going to do something similar to a Gotham, where they made him a lot more serious. That'd be the most interesting thing in my eyes, at least.
Moving off the Batman now, as we're going to move on to a bit of tech news, and of course, a while back in August or the month before, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 both had shows showcasing their new games. And recently, supposedly a leak came out releasing the Xbox Series X's price. Would you like to have a guess of how much it would be?
I mean, probably about 500, 600 roughly.
Higher.
That's why I'm here. Really?
Mm-hmm.
More than 600?
Yes.
700 at all?
£1 shorter, 699.
Oh God.
Of course, as all leaks, you should take it with a grain of salt. But analysing the Xbox Series X's specs, I think a console that much is excusable for how much you're paying for. You're basically getting a between a mid-tier and a top-tier PC.
Exactly. Like, because I watched most of the Xbox Series X conference. I saw Halo Infinite's very good graphics that was shown off there. Yeah, it looked. Oh, it didn't look very good, unfortunately. Unfortunately, from what we saw, it looked like it was running on an
Xbox 360.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't look like they kept promising it as being this, like, next gen experience.
Photorealism.
Meanwhile, you had, like, just a few months before, you had the PlayStation 5 reveal, which some of the games didn't, but a lot of the games genuinely looked like next generation experiences.
And let's not forget Game of the Year, Bugsnax. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yes, Bugsnax is going to be the peak of Xbox Series X.
Yes.
But I mean,
that song, a jam. Those characters, amazing.
Yeah, but
I'm going to be shedding a tear.
Yeah, but currently it looks like Sony definitely has the advantage here right now. They actually announced a lot of games at their conference. Like, off the top of my head, I can remember Demon's Souls remake.
Yeah,
which everyone got a lot of people very excited for. Ratchet and Clank 2, Spider-Man 2.
Bugsnax.
Spider-Man 2. Well, it's not 2. It's similar to Uncharted: Lost Legacy, where it's more of a expansion to it. But it's like an expansion is equivalent to like a 10-hour game, which will be pretty interesting to see. Resident Evil 8. There was this one by Bethesda, which is kind of like a death loop thing.
Yeah,
but in the style of Dishonored, which I found personally interesting. It's currently, I mean, it looks to me like if we were considering that, like, this year's E3, Sony definitely won.
Yeah,
they announced a lot more. Meanwhile, Xbox said all games would be running, I think, at 60 FPS. And then
minimum 60 FPS.
And then Assassin's Creed came out saying it'd probably be running at a minimum of 30 frames per second. Which kind of undermined Xbox entirely.
You want to know a game that everyone is not hyped up for? And that is the new Game of the Year, 4th time released, Grand Theft Auto 5, next gen.
But at the same time,
expanded and enhanced.
But however, at the same time, Microsoft also did announce Destiny 2 for the Xbox Series X as well.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm quite interested.
7 years with the same game.
Yeah, Rockstar have said that the game will be coming out in the next few years. I
Early
believe I remember.
2021.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't even think it's as in no GTA 6 will be coming out in the next few years. So it's not coming out 2021 because it's been way too short of time. I'm more interested personally about the controllers, to be honest.
Yes.
The controllers look incredibly interesting.
With the PS5 having a certain controller that actually have if you're pulling a bow in a game, it actually feels like you're doing because there'll be press on it.
I mean, one of the things I thought was very interesting with the controller that no one else has really been talking about, which is the built-in microphone inside, so you don't need a headset or microphone to talk to friends now. Which I think could be quite useful if like your headset breaks or something and you don't have a spare, which has happened to me quite a lot, and then I can't play with friends. So that'd be an interesting mechanic that you could use, even if you just have headphones.
Yeah, earphones. So yeah.
Also, I've got to point out, Microsoft have said that most of their Xbox Series X games will be backwards compatible with Xbox One.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a good marketing idea. Like, it'll make more people buy the games, sure, but it'll make less people buy the console. And that's the problem.
They're also doing smart delivery, which can boost sales as well, which is if you buy an Xbox Series X game or a certain game on the Xbox One, you get it for free on the Xbox Series X.
But the thing is, are people going to buy a Series X if you can just get all the Xbox Series X games on Xbox One? That's the thing I'm more interested in, especially with the price being unveiled at almost $700.
Yeah.
It's more of a question of also the name as well being Xbox Series X. Like, there's a reason the Wii U failed, which is because everyone heard the name and thought, oh, it's just another Wii. Same thing that could happen with here, the Xbox Series X. They could just think, oh, it's just another line of Xbox One X's.
Yeah.
It could be a new lineup or series of Xbox One X.
Or a mother or a father doesn't know a lot about video games could look up Xbox One X and go, oh my god, I'm getting a great deal.
They'll search up an Xbox X even, because they'll be like, oh, what is it? And like,
then they were thinking they were getting a good deal.
Exactly. I mean, Xbox X. If you go on shopping for an Xbox X, you immediately get Xbox One X, and that's what everyone might get confused about with it. But yeah, that's what I'm just thinking. I guess we'll have to wait and see, because currently, I don't know. Currently, the PlayStation seems to have a lot more on offer with it. Of course, this might be. I don't know if we're ready to segue into a different discussion here.
Yeah.
With the PlayStation announcing Hitman 3 VR with it.
Yes.
Moving along into the Hitman 3 announcement, if we're doing that. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what exactly I was about to say as well. Personally, I'm a big fan of Hitman. I always have been. Yeah. Nearly have all the games. I think I just don't have the first one because it's not available on any of the platforms I have, because it was an only PC exclusive at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I picked recently I got the Hitman collection, Hitman Anthology, I think it was, on PC. But I had to refund it because most of the games barely worked on it. Because I already had Hitman Blood Money, because it's my personal favorite in the franchise, and so I decided to get Hitman Codename 47, Silent Assassin, Absolution, and Contracts. I didn't really want Absolution, but I mostly just wanted the other ones. But unfortunately, Hitman 2 primarily didn't really run well at all on my computer, and it was practically unplayable. And I figured I might as well just refund it on there and try and get it on a different console that has it a bit more up to date on, or a better version.
The pre-orders were announced yesterday.
Oh yes, they were.
Yeah.
Isn't it on Epic Games primarily on PC? I hear.
Yes, it's only Epic Games on PC because they struck a deal. But everywhere else, if you get the pre-order, you get a load of new suits and I think some special assignments as
Yes,
well.
one of the suit I seen was from Hitman Blood Money, which is the level in Heaven and Hell, where you can get the Hell suit from it, which does look very. I probably will want to pre-order it because I love the look of that suit, especially.
And of course, it's going to be on PS4, Xbox One, PS5, and Xbox Series X and PC.
It
And
seems
on
like
PS4 and PS5 with VR as well.
Exactly. It looks incredibly interesting with how that's going to work. But definitely, I'm very excited for what they're going to do with it, because one thing I saw was, is it going to be an Epic Games exclusive, so it's not ever coming out on Steam?
That's what they said, yeah.
Because what I'm then worried about is the whole, because one of the things they advertise is that you can play the entire World of Assassination trilogy. So you can play all 3 games in Hitman 3 and your saves will transfer over. And I know the majority of people have Hitman and Hitman 2 on Steam. And then I don't even think Hitman 2 is on Epic Games yet. I know Hitman 1 is, because they just they're giving it away for free at this moment, which if anyone's watching this, you should definitely get, because it's very good. But yeah, I'm more worried about how it's going to, if you actually are going to be able to transfer your data over from Steam to Epic Games version. That's worrying me how that's going to work. And if we are actually going to get PC VR for Hitman 3 as well. Because I had Hitman 1 on a PlayStation, because they gave episodes of it out for free.
Yeah, and that's why I did, because it was
and
like
then eventually they gave out the full collection for free, which is what I got. And then I discovered that it was on Hitman 2. You could download Hitman 2 and get all the levels on there. So I got that, and then they announced Hawk Bay was free. So I grabbed that as well, because I figured I might as well play it, give it a try. And then I got everything on PC.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been playing. That's why I'm still playing on Hitman 2 currently on a PC, which I'm still doing a bit more of, because I'm still just trying to assign Assassin suit only all the maps on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently with Hitman 3, Hitman 3 looks very good. It looks like they're taking things in a different, interesting direction. I do like the new map they revealed about the Dartmoor location revealed, and it's kind of a murder mystery. I'm just worried that the murder mystery will be as bland as the Whistlestone Creek Find Clues, where you just find 3 clues and then you know who did it automatically. It'd be more interesting if you actually had to use some
Agatha Christie or Sherlock kind of deducing.
Yeah, we have to
actually. As
Agent
47 is supposed to be genetically enhanced, so I would think he's exceptionally smart. Also,
yeah. The other thing I'm worried about with it is similar to Colorado, and how not many people were a fan of that map because it had so many targets and not many ways to take them out.
Yeah,
it was rather limited. Same with this, and how I'm worried that what they're doing with this map is they're going to make it so you have to then kill the person who murdered them, and if it's going to be a different person every time to keep the map interesting, they'll add a lot more. They'll add not many ways to murder the targets.
Yeah.
Because there will be so many targets, they will be struggling to kill them all.
I would think on Dartmoor, England, there would be no opportunity/mission story, so that wouldn't make sense.
Exactly, especially in a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Unless they are applicable to any of the targets that reveal themselves to be a murderer. So, because what I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to have it like a random person is the murderer every time you play through it, as a way to keep it interesting and avoid boring repeat playthrough, similar to the Maelstrom, or what was it called? Yeah, in was it the Maelstrom?
I think so. Yeah.
The guy in Mumbai.
I'm sure we'll get corrected, but let's say
in Mumbai, he was an interesting target to take care of, to kill, because it was different characters every time you had to try and find them, and then but the ways you could kill him worked for every target there, worked for every guy. So I'm thinking similar with that, with mission opportunities working for all 3 of those characters.
So before we move on to something else. I've just got to say this. I think IO Interactive is, this might be controversial, but it's one of the last video game companies that care about their fan base. As every new title, people say, "Oh, can we have this?" And they go, "Of course, you can have that." That's what they did with Ghost Mode. They said, "Can we our friends?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then it turned out to be not.
Can we keep the suitcase glitch? Sure. In fact, let's make it an unlockable item in Hitman 2.
Yeah.
So you can throw the suitcase and it just bloody flies everywhere. Pardon, I don't know if bloody's allowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I've got you with that.
But yeah, it seems like they're really taking care of the fans and they actually listen to them and respond. Just what's like, they've done some interesting things with Hitman 1 and then Hitman 2. And with this, because one of the things that annoyed me about Hitman 2 was that I couldn't carry my items over.
Yeah.
Because like I played a lot of Hitman 1, doing like the Silent Assassin suit only on Sapienza.
Yeah, I got Mastery 20 on every level, so I got all the items.
Yeah, I only had at the time Sapienza, and I got Mastery 20 on that. And then I get Hitman 2 and have to redo it all over again.
But luckily, what I did is when I bought Hitman being skeptical of it with it being episodic, so I decided to skip that one until all the episodes were released, and then I said I would buy it. I ultimately forgot about it, and I was about to uninstall it off my Xbox, and I decided, I'll play Paris again, as I was the only one I had, and I saw that Sapienza was available to download for free because it was during the summer. So I downloaded that, loved Sapienza, and then I left it. And then when Hitman 2 came out, the Legacy Pack, whoever had Hitman 1 with at least one episode on it, got all the episodes for free. So I played Hitman again through Hitman 2 before I bought the actual main story of Hitman 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I think Hitman 3 looks very interesting. I trust IO Interactive. Just looking at the PSVR videos, it looks incredibly smooth already. But at the same time, it does make me question how truthful the VR video we saw is actually.
So I think we should talk about one last thing, and then we'll move on to the final part that we've both agreed on to talk about. What I'm really interested in is there's a supposedly very small speculation that's a potential Fantastic Four film in 2022. And the fan favourite to play, I forgot his name now, but I know the actor's name, John Krasinski, who played Jim in The Office US. Yeah. To play the lead in Fantastic Four.
I could see him playing Mr. I could see him playing him. Yeah. To be honest, so Fantastic Four hasn't had the best track record with films. I don't. The less we talk about the reboot, the better, or Fant Four.
Yes.
The less we talk about, the better. But I mean,
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic, played by John Krasinski, could be a pretty good choice in a character to play as him. It would all depend on, I think, who's actually leading the film, because Fantastic Four haven't had the best track record at all with films, so it would all depend on who's actually playing him personally.
Of course, Silver Surfer was the best character that I ever saw portrayed in a film, and I think all of us can agree on that. Silver Surfer, beat Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. Just beats every other actor on the planet.
No one else could compare to him.
Shakespeare, what? Silver Surfer.
There's no competition. Silver Surfer was easily the greatest character in all of any
Stephen
film.
Who? Silver Surfer.
Exactly.
All right. let's finish on a somber note.
Yes.
We were gonna do this podcast. We've been planning this podcast for a week now, and of course, on the day, a really great man that just forwarded a movement onto film and was the first ever African American to have a lead box office, making over, I think, 250 million. It was the first ever prominently African American film directed by an African American, and that's of course Chadwick Boseman, who died at the age of 43 with stage 4 colon cancer last night.
It's very sad. He was a very good actor in all of his films he was in. It's very shame to see him gone like this. Very sad.
Of course, he didn't only star in Black Panther, he also starred in a new Netflix film, which is The Five Bloods, directed by Spike Lee. Very good film. I recommend you should watch it if you do get the chance. I don't know what to talk about now, so I think we should just end it here.
Yeah, great.
I want to thank you for listening, and thank you, Nye, for talking, and we hope to join you. We hope to join you next week. Talk about more geeky stuff on the Geek Central podcast. Have a nice day or have a nice night wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you for listening.